Hello. So earlier, I talked with you about the habits of a reader. And so you guys learned all about the different habits of a reader. You learned about teaching students how to make a plan, finding a reading spot, finding books that are engaging, lots of books that are engaging for them to read, teaching them about staying focused or things that you want to teach them about staying focused. Talk about books and like setting goals on either like number of pages read, number of minutes, or number of books. So you're like, now I know what a habit is, but like, what am I supposed to do about that? Let's talk for just a minute in this video all about that. Takes me just a second. So now what? Like one of the things that you might notice with your students is their stamina just is not really strong. And so the ways that you notice that their stamina is not strong is they're distracted, they're not focused, there's a lack of volume, or maybe a lack of engagement that's happening when it comes to independent reading time. So some things that you can do in your conferring and small groups between now and the end of the school year are key. So, like the work that you're doing now, the next 2 months or 8 weeks or 10 weeks, however much time you have left, is going to be so important. So, small groups and conferences. With students, you want to make sure that you're setting goals. So, again, you can set goals around number of books read, minutes read. You could set pages read, but big goals around reading and volume. Some things that you can do is teach students about choosing books that are interesting and engaging based on their identity web. So if you have a reluctant reader and they need some support when it comes to choosing books, Shauna Frazen from the Teachers College does a lot of really beautiful work around identity webs and how you can use that to choose books for your students and just like hand them a book stack and say, I chose these for you because I know you, and like think about the power and the message that that sends to your students. So please spend some time with Shauna Frazen if you can. She's got some really great stuff to talk with you about. Teach your kids in small groups and conferencing about making a plan. So we talked about like making a plan for the month or for the week or for the day, you know, how that looks. Teach kids about like what books am I going to read? How long am I going to read? Teach them about like making the plan. And you could even tie that in with setting goals and goal setting. Something else that you could do in small groups and conferring is start setting up book clubs and teach students, you know, even our littles, even like our kindergarten and first grade students, like Fontes and Pinnell talk all the time about book clubs with our littles, even set up like book clubs and teach kids like, what does a book club look like? What does talk in a book club look like? Shauna Frazen, I'm going to bring her name up again. She has a really great book with Katie Winslow. It's The Power of Classroom Talk, The Power of Talk. Look up Shauna Frazen, Katie Winslow. You'll find the book. It's really great. It'll help you like think through some ways that you could teach kids about how to talk in book clubs or just talk in the classroom. And then another thing is finding series books. So get students started now on reading like the first book in a series or a couple of different series, and then show them how to access the rest of the series so they have plenty of books to read all summer long. There is research behind if we can get kids to be series readers, they become lifelong readers. So there is just like a ton of power around getting kids reading series books. So something else that you're going to want to think about is teaching them how to access books, how and where to access books. So some of the things that you can do is kids have had lots of time on computers. So show them how to access ebooks. I do not think that they should only be reading ebooks. Kids need to have like hard copies of books. There's a lot of research regarding comprehension, following print, all of that really important. But we we do need to learn how to read ebooks too, and that's another way to help us with volume. So show them how to access ebooks through your school library. Hopefully your building library has, or district library has, ebooks that kids can access. So make sure that they're really fluent and able to access those books. Show them how to access ebooks through the public library. That would be really helpful. And then throughout the entire pandemic, teachers have just been so creative, and authors have been, and publishers have been so generous and providing access to books. So you'll find Padlets online of books that kids can access for free. You'll find people created like Bitmoji classroom libraries. Like there's so much out there that kids can access when it comes to accessing books. So make sure they know how to access books, and then like access ebooks, and then like actual books to hold in their hands. We need to show them and their parents, like, how can I get those? So one of the things that I think some buildings and districts are doing really great work around is they're opening up their building library and checking out books, and kids can swap out their books weekly or bi-weekly. So whatever kind of works for your building, that's happening. I'm seeing lots of schools and communities doing like those little free libraries. They look like a little mailbox, but super cute. And they have books in there, and you can grab a book, and you can put a new book in. And maybe you could create like a community map of free libraries, and kids could, and their families could make a plan of how they're going to visit these free libraries and check out some of the books that are there. Another thing is like a drop off and pickup time at school. So I've seen lots of buildings doing this through virtual learning, where they have kids come to school, drop off supplies, and pick up new supplies. And maybe you have books that kids want to read, and you try to create some sets for them and have those available for like a drop off pickup time. Uh, in the community, encourage like book swaps. That would be really fun, where hey, I finished this book, does somebody want to swap it out? If you like this book, maybe you'll like this book, and consider that. And then this is my dream, friends. So if anyone can get me access to like enough money for a little van and to fill it with books, my dream is to have a bookmobile and be able to drive around our community, talking with kids and parents and families about books and switching those books out. It used to kind of be a thing in some areas. It's not where I'm at in St. Louis now, but how beautiful would that be to have like your little school bus, and you have just all these books, and you talk with kids and they can check out books, and you can get their books and swap those out. So I hope that now that you know like some different habits of a reader, you have some ideas of how you can teach that between now and the end of the school year, and that you have some things that you could teach to help your kids think about ways that they're going to access books when they're not with you all the time. And remember, like, that's our goal as a teacher, is that kids take what we've been doing, teaching them all year long, and go do that independently without us. Teaching is like that kind of job that your goal is that they don't need you anymore. And this is the time that we don't want them to need us anymore. It's time for them to like, off you go fly. You're a reader, you're a writer. So I hope that was helpful. Have a great day.